Well, hello there. I'm Sin. We are in the Book Nook, and today we're going to talk about my reading plans for 2025. All right. So, what are we going to do this year? Well, this year I am going to read a lot of horror like I normally do. So, let's just do basics first, right? This channel is mainly about horror, fantasy, and paranormal. So, going to be lots of horror, some fantasy, and then some paranormal books because I like the weird and unusual. I finished the Dark Tower series with Jason's Weird Reads. We read the books 1 through 7, but we still have to read The Wind Through the Keyhole. So we're going to be reading that this year. And then I'm going to be getting into some more Stephen King this year. I am kind of wanting to like dive deeper into some of the books that really tie into the Dark Tower, and there's a good chunk of them. And honestly, all of the books in the Stephen King universe kind of revolve around the Dark Tower, but some more so than others. So, Salem's Lot is one of those that had a huge part in the Dark Tower series, and I read that as one of the first Stephen King books I ever read. So, I'm going to go back and revisit that and read that one. I'm going to read The Stand. I'm going to get into Eyes of the Dragon and then Insomnia. And there's one I heard that ties into it quite a bit that I don't want to read. That is Dream Catchers, because I think that's the one with like the poop butt aliens that come out of your butt or something. Is that true? I don't know. But I heard that about that book, and I have it on my shelf because I got it for $1 at like a library sale. I don't really want to read it, but if it ties into the Dark Tower, I'm going to do a little more digging into this to see if it does. Then I'm going to read it. And then I'm going to follow what other books that people say tie into there more. So, just a little more delving into that because that was such an amazing series and the whole journey, like, I don't know, just you fall in love with the story, the characters, the weirdness of it. And so, yeah, this year is going to have a lot more Stephen King. Obviously, I'll be reading his new one that comes out in May, Never Flinch. And so, yeah, that's on the agenda. As far as I know, as long as the same 2 readathons I did last year, Occult Detective October and then the Cryptid Readathon, if those are happening, I'm going to partake in them. So those are definitely on the radar as well. And then I'm going to stick with reading at least one nonfiction a month. Once I decided to do that last year, I stuck to it pretty well, sometimes even reading more than one nonfiction. And I had said before that before I started BookTube, I used to read a ton of nonfiction and I kind of fell off the wagon really hard in the first 2 years of being on BookTube. So last year, I kind of went back into nonfiction, which I really enjoyed. So definitely more nonfiction. And then I was also supposed to read one manga a month, and I fell off the wagon on that one pretty hard. So I don't know if I'm gonna like make it a thing where I have to do one a month, but I'm gonna try to read more manga again. But I don't want to. We're not putting any stress on my shoulders to do it. So we're gonna have some manga, but I'm not gonna stick to one a month. I like to have no stress, low stress when I do stuff. So there'll be some in there. But the majority, as per usual for the channel, will be horror, some fantasy, and then paranormal. So I don't know if I'm really adding too much new stuff except for the delving deeper into the Dark Tower stuff for the month of January. All right. January is my I do whatever I feel like month because in October and November did back-to-back readathons. It took a year to read the Dark Tower series because I took off. I didn't read any of it during the readathons because Stephen King writes really large books, so I wasn't able to get that till we read Dark Tower in December. Yeah, so I will definitely be doing another episode of Jason's Weird Reads podcast for the I guess do we call it the 8th book in the Dark Tower? I don't know. It's a prequel, and they say you're supposed to read it between I think book 3 and 4. I don't remember 100%, so don't yell at me if I'm wrong about that. That might not be where they say you're supposed to read it. But going through it the first time, you read it at the end, as far as I know. And then yeah, we'll see where else the year takes us. But those are my plans. Pretty simple, easy breezy, as far as I'm concerned at this point in time. What are your reading plans for the year? You know what? If you just read books, that is a good plan. Maybe that'll be my plan next year. No pressure, just read books. Do what thou wilt. So that is what we're gonna do in 2025. So if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.